know what though? Let's go back to the 200s here because it's a little more gradual. It's a little more gradual. You know, you caught that one on the 100, we can always come back to them. From 20 to 25. Let's see if I can keep us around 12.
What is the weed line on this lake?
The weed line is really ending close to around 9-10 feet right now. If it stays clear for any extended period of time here, you may get a little deeper. There is some growth at the deeper depths, but it's off the bottom, but it's short grass. It's not going to be the stuff that'll grow all the way up. And lakes go through phases where this moss stuff blooms, you know. That'll die off too. That won't stay. This floating crap, this is all part of the bloom. It'll go though. That shouldn't be on here very long. Speed a little. I like to crank a good one. I'll tell you what, man. I've had hits from a couple of pretty good fish out here, and they ain't the little. They ain't a snake. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know what the hell they are. I'm assuming they've got to be a pretty good sized northern.
They're big bass in here. They're 5-pound bass.
Usually when a bass hits though, you don't miss the bass.
Yeah.
Those damn northerns, you can miss those suckers. You know, or they bump your bait. This is real traditional with northern, especially when they're chasing the baits. They'll bump your bait from behind. They'll bump your bait from behind. You know, you'll feel a tap. And one of the ways to catch those fish, when you feel that bump, drop your lure back at them. You got to do it immediately. Drop your lure right back at them. And 9 out of 10 times when you drop it, he's gonna hit it. Let's bring it in. I got caught in the side here. Much bullshit.
Is that the moss from pollution?
Not necessarily from pollution. This is could be just from. It could be a combination of pollution and just the natural ecosystem of the lake. You know, it's part of the natural cycle here. Some lakes get it, some lakes don't. Usually your more fertile lakes have more of that kind of crap in it. Alright, we're going to turn around, run this puppy back again, right into that turn. Run it one more time with 200s, and then we're going to go back with 100s. That's where your markers come in very handy when you're on a strange lake, you know. I'm doing this all on site. We haven't had any catastrophes yet, but it does help if you throw markers. I mean, if you're a beginning spoon plugger and you're having trouble reading and anticipating, you better use markers because you're going to be a very aggravated spoon plugger.
What do you mean by anticipating?
Well, you have to anticipate. Anticipation is one of the biggest things. You know, you got to anticipate what's in front of you.
When it's coming up?
And you have to be able to visualize, right. And that only comes through experience, you know. There ain't nobody that's green that naturally has it. I mean, you got to just learn it. You got to get the feel for the body of water. You got to go over it a few times. Obviously, the more you fish, look at this, so we're going to go head on over these guys. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
And I have done that.
Have you done that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, if you can read, you know, you're coming up on a piece of structure, you know, something is there, and your anticipation is there. You've seen it on your electronics. All you got to do is gauge how long it's going to take the lures to get there.
And then you just say,
And
well,
you say, okay, here it goes. Get ready. Bada bing. They're there. I don't know why. For some reason, on this pass going this way, I can't seem to get in on it as good as when I'm coming from this side.
ah, so you're about on it now?
Yeah. Now we're there. Now we're there.
Depth contour I like to fish anyway. So
We're going to worm in here a little bit more. I came off from there.
Now, about how fast are you going now?
Well, I don't have my speed thing hooked up, but I'm probably going 5 to 7.
5 to 7.
Okay, now we're coming back on it. On a moss.
Can you see the moss on the scope there? Or are you
Let's
talking
bring
about
it
the
in.
floating?
Damn it, came up on it too much. More gradual structure that still breaks into real deep water on that other side.
that's where I picked the bass and pike this morning.
It is?
Yeah, and I saw it. I saw a big bass made that big one. So it was left pup.
Good. 5, 6, 6 pounder or something.
Now, Jack and I fished this ledge. We mapped it out, you know, put buoys in, and we trolled up and down along through here, okay?
Yeah.
Bill says that he does better picking up pike along the other side. We never fished the other side.
The
'cause
outside
there
edge?
was other people out there, but right, the north side there.
I'd like to get out on that piece. We're going to work our way over there and see what we run up with time-wise.
Do you do a lot of this contour trolling on like a new lake to just learn it?
Yeah, that's how you learn a lake, you know.
The deeper?
Yeah, you know, you can catch a lot of fish without getting into the necessarily the schools, but you know you're checking out the water. I'm running from one spot to the other, but rather than jumping from this structure to structure, there's still fishable water in between here. You know, it's straggler fishing. Well, nobody's into any schools of fish. We don't have any casting positions located yet. You know, we've only been out here a few hours, so I'm not gonna kid myself. You know, I'm gonna check out the water. I'm confident that there's fish along this thing that we're running right now. Not, you know, you're not gonna find them stacked up like cordwood in here, but you can pick them up. You know, on the fast troll.
Now, is this what Buck talks about when he says that you run the 15-foot contour and then you notice the breaks at that level, and usually they go all the way when you see the bigger
what
changes?
he's trying to say by that is that they'll go all the way to the deep water. Where in this case, the deep water is very accessible because everything breaks to the deep water here. You know, the thing that'll differentiate where the fish come up is different protrusions that are leading down into that deep water. But there's a lot of deep water out here. I mean, there's a lot. This lake's got a lot of deep water.
Yeah.
So you can't, you know, like now if it was a small area out here that had only a deep hole, now obviously we're going to look for the structures that are, see, I'm walking pretty good here. Now I hit some moss. Damn. Look at all this floating stuff over here. See
Yeah.
this? It's all over the place. You running all right, Joe?
I bumped in there.
Yeah, I bumped a few.
But I didn't.
I got a few bumps in there myself. Way out, 10 foot right here, and we're running 100. 10 to 14. 17. Boss. Damn. I got a big clump I gotta pull in.
Now, sometimes Buck talks about running this type of trolling with wire and a short line to have a little better control. You do that much?
You absolutely can, but you know, there is certain situations. Like this lake is not that bad where you have to worry about doing that. You know, right now it's a little bit of creep because of the moss. Oh, I thought there was goddamn fish following my bait.
Yeah.
You hit it too. You know, everything is attainable here. You don't need to go to wire on this lake. Everything's reachable. You know, there's no call for it. Now, if you were to find, if you're not catching fish and you want to explore, you don't want to wait for fish to move or to move shallow enough, you're on a cold front day or something, you want to put wire line on and go down and see if you can find some breaks at 40 feet on this lake. Yeah. But the outside edge of the weed line, there's good breaks that are leading up to the outside edge of the weed line. I don't know why you'd have to do that, you know. If you had decent weather, stable weather, you'll get a movement of fish. It's just a matter of you waiting them out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's put on the 250s. We're going to do a little shallow buzzing. See if we can... 250. And they showed a picture of the fish's brain. They showed a picture of the brain. And the chemical that they use in their plastics, I don't remember what the hell the name of it was, it triggers the sense of the fish's brain that says, eat, eat, eat. And they flashed it on the screen. Eat, eat, eat. I said, Rocky, holy Christ, look at this. Now they got stuff that goes right to the fish's brain. Wow, big fish come up out there. Honest to God. You gotta watch it. It was an infomercial on your channel here.
Oh boy.
I don't remember the name of this crap though. It was some plastics and they got some chemical that they're putting into the bait. And it goes right to the fish's part of the brain that says to eat, eat, eat. So the minute they see this thing, it goes right to their brain and they gotta bite it. I mean, that's just part of, you know, this.
When the commercial says, bye, bye, bye.
The gimmicks are just amazing. And how they recycle the same crap, you know, they got to keep the stuff in front of you. And the guys that ain't secure with what they're doing, they fall prey to it. You gotta be confident in what you're doing. This is the way you get confidence. By ripping through moss like I'm doing.
Does the line length have much to do with it, like versus a wire, short line wire with a long line here? Is that a
We're not
factor?
running a long line. We're running 20s to 25s, 30s.
Oh, okay.
Those are pretty short lines.
But that shouldn't, if we're hitting them with higher
This
speeds.
is just a pain in the butt. It's for a short period of time. If they get a good blow on the lake, it'll blow a lot of this crap off to the side. But you know, we might be fishing on it a little bit on the downwind side. Some of this crap is blown over here. Okay, we're gonna really crank it up here. Try some shallow buzz underneath the weeds. Is this one of our guys?
Yep.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Jack and that.
Or you get something that snags onto the hook, it'll cause the lure to twist. And the more you drag it, the worse the twist gets. Well, what that'll do is that'll keep the twist from the swivel down. You know, that's what it does. It eliminates the twist getting into your line. So, you know, you got a big point that swings off of here, so I'm glad that we pulled in.
Right.
We're running at 250. We may get away with it. Wow, is this thing swing way out? There's a finger coming way off this thing. it or not, I'm still running all right. I don't know about you. Now I'm up. It's probably about 15, 16 on that side of the finger. Now it's coming up again. But now you're up really onto the actual bar itself. It's not part of the finger. Looking to see if there's any weed line out on this.
Do you take sightings as you're doing this looking around here?
Yeah, well, if it's most of the time if I'm sighting if I've hit a fish. Big school of bait fish here. Look at this school. Look at this. See this?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Huge. Yeah. It's all perch.
Yeah.
It ain't bait fish. It was perch.
Yeah. We've seen some big.
Is that beds I'm seeing up there? Oh yeah, big bass tonight. So huge too. Big bass. That's a bed.
All right.
All right, I just said it. Boy, it looks like a bed there. Then I saw a female off to the side of it.
It's just up on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if I can find it. I'm gonna go slow. She was a little bit deeper. I'm gonna think that it's more to this side, but I don't want to come right up on it, so I'm gonna try and stay to the side. Like, kind of like in that area or to the left, Joe. Big fish. She's sitting right on it. Spook her ass off it already. It looks like they got some beds up here that I don't know if they're in use.
Yeah, you can see some beds down there.
Or if they were in use. There's some clean spots fanned out in here. Only thing that's bothering me, I don't see any males. Usually the males you'll see. I think it's right out here. I don't want to get too close to this clear water. Big fish sitting on that bed.
When you came right up on it, you should have thrown a marker?
Well, just to spot that fish, because that was a big fish. You know, but you know, when you're not thinking that at that time, like when I'm trolling, I'm always thinking, get ready to throw a marker. You know, I keep them right by me.
Even as you're just exploring around?
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit bumpy here.
Oh yeah, I can see them down there. A lot of perch.
See them down there?
Gee. Yeah.
You see these, Joe?
Now, how can you tell they're perch?
Oh, I can see the sides of them. They're all perch.
Yeah,
it's a huge school of perch.
They'll chase this for paladin.
That's a huge school of perch. Are there? Oh yeah. They're not
Actually had some tides to them.
So you'd call this a pretty fertile lake and pretty good fish population?
Oh yeah, we're seeing fish. You know, if we could spend time out here, if we spent a little bit of time, if I could spend 2 days out here, we'd be into some fish. We would be into some fish, there's no doubt. No doubt in my mind. I'm going to try up on this piece. Where I've gone from one to the other, working jigs on top of these beds, and working the same fish for 20 minutes, finally hooking her.
I'll sit up there at Bogsham Point up Wilderness State Park, sit there and watch them. Put stuff right in front of them. Have them pick it up and move it off.
See her? She's right on it. She's right on it. She's still with it.
Oh yeah.
She's going off now. Damn it. Here she comes again. Here she comes again. Huh? It's not a real big fish. It might be about a 3-pounder. But that was a fish. Did you see her, Chase?
Yeah, I saw her.
Work yours right through there, Joe. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to a twitch bait. I'm going to go to a twitch bait because these fish are coming on it. Maybe the speed I'm using is not. We'll see.
Think it needs a little slower because they were.
No, I'm actually going to try something a little bit quicker, a little bit more.
A little more speed?
Yeah. Because that fish was coming and veered off. And I don't know.
You may not have been able to trigger it.
Strike on a.
What do you mean by a quick bait?
I'm gonna, what do you call it? A,
Minnow?
no, this is a tiny torpedo, but it's a surface bait that I can quick twitch. That's what I call doing it.
Oh, the propeller?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a quick twitch bait. Yeah, let it set, pop, set. I varied my retrieves on this too. I'll do a pop pop. And this is only good at certain times of the year. This is an early party. There's another huge school of perch. Oh my God. I don't know if this is the same one. They're all over. They're everywhere. Ratio is not real good.
This is a topwater.
Yeah. Tiny torpedo. There's a couple ways you can work it. You can work it real slow with an occasional pop. But right now, what we're doing, there's some bass still spawning up here because that's the second female that we've seen. I'm assuming that fish was probably a female. It was pretty good size, 3-pounder or so.
Now we're in what, 5 feet of water?
5, 6 feet of water maybe. Maybe not even.
So top water would be.
Oh yeah, this is the lure. One of the lures of choice to run in this. You could run a spinner bait, but I think your spinner bait you'd still pick up this mossy crap. Across the top of it here. This is spawning habitat here, and that's the reason that we're up here. It's not necessarily real good weed cover, but this is definite spawning habitat.
And it is about the spawn, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you know we're around that time to whatever phase they're in here.
So what do these things do? They piss the fish off and.
When they're out of spawn? Well, not necessarily are all these fish on the bed. Males are usually very protective of the bed to start with. And once the female comes in to drop her eggs, she will be protective also. But they don't necessarily, when they're sitting on a bed, female doesn't necessarily have to, doesn't have to go after anything. But what will happen is a female will pick stuff up to move it off the bed. That's why you see a lot of guys when they, and I know I do this too, I fish a lot of soft plastics when I'm fishing spawning bass. And I try to put it right on the bed to piss off the female enough that she'll attempt to pick it up to move it off the bed. And when she picks it up is when you got to set because she sucks it right in, you know.
I've seen them pick stuff up and move it off the bed. Never.
Well, I've had them pick up my soft plastic, spit it out before I even had a chance to react. Yeah. So I mean, it's that fast, it's gone. And that's aggravating because you get her to a point where she finally picks it up and then she's so damn fast with picking it up and spitting it out. I mean, this is a totally different presentation. The only time of the year you're doing this is in the spring. You know, you ain't wasting your time up here all the rest of the year. Now, look at all the moss up here. 300 yards long and 100 yards wide. And myself and 2 other guys were fishing it for muskies. and all three of us caught muskies over 40 inches. It's a brood lake. I caught 3, 41, 42, and 42.
Oh.
And the other guys all caught them in the 40s too. On my way back, you had to use a trolling motor. No motors allowed. No weeds, no structure in the lake. It's all gradual taper and stuff. There's nothing to relate to. But the muskies controlled the main part of the lake. The bass were relating to these cattails. I went up to where the cattails were. It was 2 feet of water, green watercolor, at the wall of cattails. So I took a big jig with a spinner blade on it and put a salt craw on the back, big dark jig, probably 5/8 ounce, and I started pitching it up into that crap and popping it out. I only had 6-8 feet of line out. I'd go just like this, drop the jig in, let it sink, move it twice, pick it up, drop it again next to another stalk of cattail, let it sink, jig it twice, and I caught 18 bass on my way back from the lily pads back to the boat launch. And those were smaller fish. They were from like 12 inches to like 18 was the biggest one I got. Well, I came back the next day with my partner, and we ended up getting 11 from 18 to 23 inches. You know, I had like 4 fish that were 6 pounds.
Gee.
Yeah, big fish. You keep a 1.
This was a spawning situation?
No, this was not a spawning situation. This is a situation in the September.
Oh my gosh.
But the problem was there's nowhere else for those fish to go.
Dishpan, no structure.
Dishpan, no structure. The only thing they were relating to, and the muskies were, if they went outside, it's a brood lake for muskies.
Okay.
The muskies forced the bass into a situation where the only place that they could get cover was going up into the cattails.
Oh, even though the depth was available in that
Depth was
lake.
available out if they went far enough, but it was so slow and gradual and tapering. The deepest water was only like 18 feet.
Oh, okay, yeah,
And it was
18.
just, you know, real slow. And that's the only thing I could see and made sense is that they related to that. You know, they related to that structure.
So you have to look pretty carefully at the type of lake you're fishing.
Absolutely. If the dark watercolor is there, and if you don't have good weed structure, and you know, this all pertains to spoon plugging still. I mean, you know, it was my knowledge of spoon plugging that led me up there to say, Jesus Christ, you know, the fish ain't got nothing else here. I'm going to see if there's any deep water up at the base of those weeds. 2 feet was deep enough because it was green, and it went way back there. It went way back. You know, the cattails, it was deep, probably 20 or 30 yards of cattails, you know. But I didn't go way back into it. I was getting them on the outside edge. And I got them there again the next year, same pattern.
That could be an all-summer pattern for that lake then.
For that lake. See, that's why you got to look at everything. Every time you go out, it's a learning experience, you know. Every time you go out, it's a learning experience. You got to keep an open mind, and you've got to be willing to accept certain things. You know, like we accept the home of the fish is the deep water, but we also accept the fact that different times of the year, fish react differently, and different situations, you ain't gonna find them in the traditional areas, you know. And the perfect example, I believe that the muskies made the bass change his habits in that lake, because it's a brood lake. You can't keep muskies unless they're over 48 inches, and they've got a hell of a lot of fish over 40. Me and 2 other boats caught, I don't know if it was 8 or 9, over 40 inches in one day. That's a lot of big fish.
Yeah.
And that's only the ones that we caught. How many other ones are still in there?
You caught those trolling out farther?
No, we weren't trolling. You couldn't. I caught them all casting.
Oh, you couldn't troll. Were they out deeper in that lake?
No, they were in there was one bed of lily pads. Lily pad was the only weed that would grow there, and there was one big bed of them, and that's where we caught them, all on the outside edges of the lily pads. That's what those muskies were relating to. I actually caught some on a Johnson spoon. I caught 2 of them on a Johnson spoon in the lily pads. You want to talk about some fun? The other guys were throwing big muskie plugs on the outside edge of the lily pads, and they were catching them too. You know, muskie when they're on the move, you can't. I mean, you can throw anything at them, and they're gonna hit it.
Yeah.
And I take him on his lake. I guide him on his own lake.
On his own lake in northern Wisconsin.
Yeah, it's up by Manitowish Waters, Boulder Junction area. I started guiding him 2 years ago. He's been fishing it for 10 years, and they haven't been able to get him, and I can't troll it because it's a Class A muskie lake. So I have to use my spoon plugging knowledge to, you know, put me on the proper structures, and you know, I have to change presentations because I can't get caught trolling out there. So You know, but never, you know, every time we've gone, like first year we got into smallmouths. He didn't even know there were smallmouths in the lake. I got into smallmouths fishing in the cribs. In 10 to 14 feet of water, I found fish cribs. Got them all on jigs and a grub, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But every crib I went to, I'd take one fish off. They weren't schooled fish, but they were relating to those cribs. You know, and if you find 20 cribs and you can pick a fish off almost every one, you got a hell of a nice catch. You know, and they were from 2 to 4 pounds. They had that first time I took them, it was 2 years ago, we got into the smallmouths and largemouths. I got a largemouth 21. That was on another lake across the street that they have a rowboat on. All Texas rigged worms. Then last year I got into the muskies on Zara Spooks. We got 8 muskies in one day. Up to 36. Missed 30 fish. Had 30 other strikes.
Oh my gosh.
Because at Zara Spook, you miss a lot of fish.
Is that because you're jerking it so much?
It's the twitch, yeah, and muskie's very reactionary, so he strikes a lot of time out of reaction if you're, you know, fishing them the way we were, and they miss. And the other thing is too, even when you have them hooked sometimes, it's a real crappy bait for hook setting ability. Did you catch one? How big? Was it? He's pulling that leg. You know why? Rocky's never caught a walleye.
It's about 4 pounds less than 5 pounds.
Rocky's never caught a walleye, and we broke his balls big time last week because me and O'Malley were out on the chain, and we got 7 of them last Monday. And the minute O'Malley got home, he calls Rocky, "Oh, now I know why we don't catch no walleyes, because it's you. Me and Vince caught them."
What kind of habitat are you looking for beds? A hard bottom?
Yeah, it has to be. There has to be some hard bottom, and the hard bottom is here, but it has to be fanned off. See, there's that moss growing, and it'll all look green to you if you don't have a bass, a male, fanning off the bed.
How deep will they go?
They could spawn effectively probably down to 7-8 feet of water. If you know, that's really about it though. Generally speaking, from the 6 inches down to 7 or 8 is probably about as deep. We're starting to pick up some over here. Indications that they might be beds. Generally speaking, if the deep water is close enough and the shoreline is close enough, you can get them right up on the shore. And we've caught them right up on the shores, but I've caught them way out on bars like this too.
Do the bigger ones
And I've caught them out on islands. You know, a lot of guys they pass up islands. Boy, I'll tell you what, sunken islands. You got to remember, like that area where we were at before, where it was surrounded or 3-sided with deep water. Those bass spawn up on the top of that thing. They don't even know that the shoreline exists because everything that they need is there. You got guys catching them on 2 feet. You got them catching them at 10 feet, and you got them catching them on the bottom.
On walleyes on Lake Erie.
Yeah. Those fish are relating to the fish, the feed that they're chasing.
Bait fish. But now isn't there structure out there too, or rocky bottoms?
There's a certain amount of fish that relate to structure out there, yeah. But there's huge schools of walleyes out there that do nothing but chase around the shad or bait fish that are out there. They follow them. That's why they become so scattered, and it's been such a goofy presentation for fish. Although that's, you know, been another thing that led to what Terry talked about last night. Why the invention of the planer board and the dipsy doodle and all that goofy crap that you don't need to be getting involved with. Phone calls, all that good stuff, you know.
It's been a booming business.
Pardon me?
That's been a booming business. It's been good business.
I started it out, I left the meat business 6 years ago. And I started out with one account in this business. And now we've got almost 50 accounts. You know, our sales are over $1 million a year.
Okay.
And I ain't doing nothing, you know. I mean, it's there. You know, especially when you live in a big metropolitan area like we do.
caught a walleye, right?
Yes. Walleye.
One more walleye and I will outdo my walleye haul for last year.
This, right?
Yes, I was going to have to tie it on the end and I just pull it out.
Hold on, don't pull that thing. Hold on, you're gonna take my manlyhood away. Go ahead.
Hey, you look a little red there, fella.
I'll bet. You're a little red.
Okay, Jim.
King on the throne, right?
You got it.
You say you caught a walleye?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I gotta get
A Michigan walleye.
a Michigan walleye.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Hey.
There's no walleye in Michigan.
Joe was the northern fisherman.
Okay, good. Well, we found out yesterday he didn't like smallmouth, so we knew he'd find something else.
That's the guy. All over Minnesota because of the spread of Eurasian milfoil. They're paying people to be at the docks, DNR, to check every boat and trailer that comes out of the water. And if you're caught on the road, like if you leave the dock area and they stop you on the road, you get nailed. They don't even, there's no asking for a break or not, they nail you. Because they don't want that weed in their waters. Another lake and it's all
Here's the
cakes.
rest of the group.
Okay, I'll get in.
So we'll give you a holler.
Yeah, Doc, you guys get up, like.
I don't think so.
No. What night? My pleasure. My pleasure. Yeah, I hope so. Hope to be up here again. I will. I'm impressed with this lake. I think this lake is really good. We saw some beautiful fish. Jason and I had a nice big bass sitting on a Delaware 6-pounder.
Should I put this in the boat?
Yeah, I left the other side open.
Salt Classic Beauty. We got one northern. I had another real strong hit out here. Real strong strike on a 100. I don't know if it was one. Well, I had one with you, but I had another one with them. We were back on that side. I had a